Welcome to the Ashland Family YMCA Healthy Living at Home series. Today we are going to go through a part one. I'm going to take you through a part one of a class I'm just calling breath-centered meditation, sometimes known as superconscious meditation in the tradition that I was trained in. I'm really glad that you're here today. I have found that this has been a really wonderful tool for me throughout my years. My name is Dr. Louise P, and I work here at the Y, and the person who is assisting and working with me today is Kristin Johnson. And I'm really grateful to Kristin for being here. It helps to, when I'm teaching about meditation, to actually have someone in the room. So I know you're in the virtual room, but Kristin is here in the room with me. So thank you very much, Kristin. Appreciate that. Meditation is many things. One of the things that it is it's an inward journey. And that journey begins with the body, which is one of the reasons I'm so delighted to be able to offer this series through the Ashland YMCA, because we are about a holistic approach to life that integrates body, mind, and spirit, or as traditions have known it, breath. And this is a very ancient tradition of meditation. It goes back some 5,000 years. We are going to do this in two parts. So today you are getting part one, and if you decide that this approach is working for you and you'd like to go a little bit deeper, then we will be creating a part two. So here we go. We're going to begin to do something that is very natural for most of us, and that is to begin to bring our focus to our breath. Now, breath is something that most of us do unconsciously. It controls and regulates everything in our body, everything in our mind. And now that we're living in 2020, we're very aware of the connections between body and mind and breath. When I began to study this in the 1980s, this was kind of radical information. Like, what do you mean the body and the breath and the mind are all connected? But we have really grown, and this awareness may be something you already have, and you simply want to build on that as we go through this process today. I'm really grateful for all that you already know that you can bring to this. We're going to begin with the body. And in meditation, one of the things that oftentimes doesn't get attended to is the posture for meditation. It's a very simple posture. I am sitting in just a regular chair. It has a little bit of padding, which gives me a little bit more comfort. And if you're doing this at home, I'm just going to invite you to find a chair that is comfortable, where you can have your feet on the floor. That will give you balance in your low body and in your spine. And so find that chair right now. And just give you a minute to establish that. If you need to put a pillow behind your back, or maybe you have a really comfortable chair, but you need a little pillow under your feet so that you can be in that one, go ahead and make those adjustments right now. All right. So we are both now sitting in comfortable chairs. Kristin, are you comfortable in your chair? All right. That is wonderful. Thank you. Now, the next thing to pay attention to is the alignment of the head and the neck and the trunk of the body. That does not need to be rigid. It shouldn't be something where your backbone is really tight. You want it to be sitting in a very comfortable alignment. So maybe as you bring your attention to that, you find that, oh, you know, I need to move my hips a little bit, or I need to just relax back into the back of my chair. Meditation is not meant to be something that's torturous. It's meant to be something that works with your body naturally. So this is the time to begin to establish that comfortable posture, where there is that comfortable alignment from your head to your neck, down your spine. So once you've done that, then I invite you just to place your hands, the palm of your hands, comfortably on your thighs. Why do we do that? Because most of us don't know what to do with our hands most of the time. Should I put it on my side? Do I scratch my head? Just by giving them a home, and that home being your thighs, now you don't have to pay attention to what to do with your hands. So how does that feel, Kristin? All right, so Kristin has done a really good job. She's got her hands nicely on her thighs. Looks like she's in a comfortable alignment of her head, neck, and spine. And I'm going to ask Kristin to do one more thing, which is to separate her feet so that her feet are not touching each other and that her knees are separated. Why do we do that? Mostly so that the constant movement of the body that is very natural doesn't become an irritation to other parts of the body. So now that we're settled in, we've got a good posture, we've got a comfortable chair, head, neck, and spine are aligned, and our hands have a home, then we're going to take the next steps. So for this next step, I'm going to invite you, if you're able, to gently close your eyes. Just let them be soft. Let your eyelids be soft on your eyes. You don't need to squint your eyes up or cause any kind of tension in your forehead, but just gently, softly close your eyes. And now you're beginning to enter into your own inner dark space. This is not a bad space. It's nothing artificial. It's just a space that, for our purposes in meditation, is a room that we want to go into right now. So just begin to get used to your own inner darkness. You may begin to notice that your mind just feels like it's running all over. That's the nature of what we call the rational mind. It's paying attention to all kinds of things in your mind. You might be thinking about your grocery list, or did you turn off the stove, or did the cat run out the door? You don't need to try to quiet any of that. But right now, just observe it. Just observe that this is how your mind works and how your mind moves. Our bodies are full of energy. And that's what's happening right now. You've quieted the physical body, so your mind, you are noticing how active that energy is in your mind. You might notice that you have little twitches. Maybe your finger feels like it's twitching a little bit, or your shoulder or neck. And that's fine as well. This is just naturally what happens when we begin to quiet down one part of the body. We begin to notice how that natural energy of the body is very active. You might have some type of an impulse to change your position. If you need to, go ahead and do that. You might have an impulse to open your eyes, because maybe this might be a little uncomfortable to sit with your eyes closed. If you need to do that, just gently open your eyes, see where you are, remind yourself you're safe and comfortable, and let your eyes softly close once again. There we go. In meditation, in this journey, we want to meet all the levels of the mind, because they're our mind, and they're there for us to tap into. So with a little practice, and that's what we're going to be doing here today, we can learn to calm the body and mind and focus the energy in more creative ways. So now we're going to take the next step. We've taken the step of establishing a comfortable, steady posture for our inward journey that we're calling meditation. The second step has to do with something we do without even thinking, and that's breathing. Our lungs are just amazing creations, and they actually have three areas. We have a low lung, a middle lung, and an upper lung. And today we're going to begin to pay attention to how our breath moves through our body, and especially in this upper body where our lungs live. So okay, so a little lights problem here. There we go. Glitch. The art of going inward is an act and an art of expansion, of expanding our awareness. Most of the time we think of expanding that awareness externally, looking around us, seeing all kinds of things around us. So this is an inward journey, and we're going to be learning how to expand our awareness of our inner world, our interior space. So in the process, we want to learn something about what is called diaphragmatic breathing. Many of you may already know about diaphragmatic breathing, and this may be a refresher. But for some, this may be a new experience. You can do this experience and this exploration either sitting in a chair or lying on the floor. Kristin, how would you feel about lying down? Okay, so I think Kristin's going to make a little adjustment for those of you that would like to lie down. And she is just going to lie on her back. And she is 6 feet apart from me. I think she might need to go over just a little bit, because we are really aware and how important social distancing is at the time that we're making this video, which is during the time of the coronavirus. So now that Kristin is lying down and you are lying down, And if you need a little pillow for behind your head, just take a moment and get that. Might be the pillow you used on your chair. Let your feet be straight out like Kristin's are, and let your arms just be gently turned to the side, as is Kristin's. That's a good distance from her body, and her palms are facing upward. So if that doesn't cause you any kind of pain, just allow your palms to face the ceiling. If that's painful or difficult, your palms can face the floor. Just make whatever kind of adjustments you need. And once again, let your eyes just softly close. Feel the weight of your eyelids coming down over your eyes. And now just continue to breathe with one change. Let the attention of your mind focus on your breathing without any intention of changing anything about the way you are breathing. You're going to be an observer or a witness just to see, how do I breathe? How does my body breathe me? Now I'm going to ask you to make one change. Place the left hand on the top of the chest, kind of up here. There we go. Place the right hand upon the abdomen, kind of right above where your belly button is. Then continue to breathe. And continue to observe. Which hand is moving? Which hand is moving the most? You might notice that the right hand rises and falls as you exhale and inhale. And you may notice that the left hand is relatively immobile. So just observe that and note that. This is the most natural way to breathe. When we're lying on our back, it's pretty difficult not to do diaphragmatic breathing. Although as I say that, I realize that all of us have a unique body and unique situations with our own respiratory system. So don't think something's wrong if this doesn't match up with your experience. We simply start from where we are. This is the most natural way to breathe. So what is happening here is that as your abdomen rises and falls, your diaphragmatic muscle, which is like a very thin and important muscle that's kind of right between your stomach and your abdomen, is being engaged. And so it's doing a lot of work on your behalf to bring you the best quality of breathing that you can have. So just take a few moments for this type of breathing and enjoy the kind of restoration that it can bring to your nervous system. Sometimes when we get really excited or really nervous, we become very tight in our muscles, and the breath moves to the higher regions of the lungs. And that is not as efficient an approach to breathing as diaphragmatic breathing is. When we need that upper respiratory work is when we're in that fight or flight response, or there's danger and the adrenaline comes in. Then we really need to be breathing in that upper zone. But for most of our living, most of our waking hours, being able to know how to breathe diaphragmatically, and I'm seeing Kristin, just her body is doing a beautiful job of her abdomen rising and falling. Her chest is rather quiet. And so I'm imagining that she is probably feeling very restful. Kristin, how are you feeling? I thought she might feel very restful. So this type of breathing can help remove tiredness and fatigue, which I think a lot of us are going through right now because of the challenges of these times. So we're going to take a little break from this and return to a sitting position. So Kristin, roll over to your left side. Give yourself a moment to sit there so that your body can readjust to the change of gravity. And now she is coming up and returning to her chair as you probably are at home. So once you have reestablished that process, that posture in your chair, with the alignment, the gentle alignment of your head and your neck and your trunk all the way down to your tailbone, your feet are relaxed on the floor, your hands have a home on top of your thighs, then I'm just going to talk a little bit about how diaphragmatic breathing will be the basis for this meditation practice. Breathing is the thermometer of one's life. As your breath goes, so goes your health and your attitude. Each person's breath is unique, and it is that thermometer of that individual's personality and life experience. Your breathing expresses that mind-body relation in an overall manner. If one wants to bring the mind and body into greater harmony, the fastest, quickest, most efficient way is to bring your attention to learning how to move your breath into the diaphragmatic process. So that's why we're spending time today on diaphragmatic breathing. How are you doing? How is that posture for you? How is your breathing going? Or do you feel like you're kind of getting to know your body in a new way? Well, if so, I hope you're enjoying that process. Now we're going to take one more step in this process of breath-centered meditation. We've established a process that gives the body steadiness. We've learned and practiced diaphragmatic breathing. And now the third step is something called breath awareness. As I said before, most of us go through our day and we're not really aware of our breath unless we're running up some steps and we noticed, oh my gosh, I'm out of breath. But most of the time, our breath serves us in our own life dealings, and that's a wonderful thing. So today we're going to expand that awareness of our breath through something called breath awareness. So as you continue to breathe, and you've established your breathing in terms of your diaphragm, we're going to begin to pay attention, if you have your eyes closed a little bit, pay attention to certain characteristics of the breath. I'd like you to look for two things in your breathing. I would like you to look for whether or not there's any kind of jerkiness in your breath. Again, this isn't anything wrong, but just notice if there is some jerkiness. Usually when I start this practice, I notice that my breath is kind of in stops and starts. So what I do is just bring into my mind the image of smoothness. It might be a smooth stream of water. It might be the feeling of smoothness of my hand moving on silk. Whatever that word smooth is, just allow that understanding of smoothness to connect with your breath. Secondly, perhaps you've noticed in observing your breath that there might be little stops and starts between the inhalation or exhalation. Again, there's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't indicate any problem. But we are looking to establish a smooth and continuous flow of breath. So think of something that you associate with the word continuous. I like to think of the feeling of wind. When the wind is just moving without any stops or starts, it's flowing in a smooth, continuous stream. So I'm going to bring that understanding of continuous to my breathing now, so that my breath is smooth and continuous. Now the third thing I want to look for has to do with the length of my inhalation and exhalation. And you might be going, what do you mean the length of my inhalation and exhalation? Do you want me to count it? No, I don't. I just want you to observe whether or not one is longer or shorter than the other. I usually notice in my breathing that oftentimes my exhalation is longer than my inhalation. And I think it's because I have a tendency to be a sigher, kind of, So when I bring my attention here, I bring the awareness of evenness. And I just imagine that, like on a swing, that I'm in a swing where my inhalation and my exhalation is even. And how beautiful and good that feels. So now my breath is smooth, it's continuous, and it's even. And all that jerkiness has left my breath. And so my breathing now continues on in this smooth, deep, continuous, and even process. Perhaps you're noticing as you do this that you're beginning to feel and experience your body in a new way. And in fact, sometimes people kind of lose an awareness of their actual physical body at this time. So if you're noticing like, oh, I wasn't aware of my feet, that's okay. Your feet are still on the floor. You are still in your chair, in your safe room or space. But just notice that when the body begins and the mind begins to focus on breath in this way, it allows you to leave that room where there's so much hectic busyness and come to this quieter, grounded place. I hope you're enjoying this process. As you exhale and inhale in this way, you are creating a mood, a posture toward your life, yourself, and the world. When people are upset, their breathing is extremely irregular. When people are enjoying the joy of the moment, their breath becomes very smooth and deep. That's what allows us to center our mind on the task at hand. So now we have put this whole process together. Kristin, are you still with me? All right. So we have established the posture for meditation. We have learned and established diaphragmatic breathing. And we've learned and practiced breath awareness. So now we're going to put all three of those together. Are you ready? As we continue our inward journey? All right. So if you need to make any adjustments in your chair, make those adjustments. Reclaim that posture you established with the alignment of the head, neck, and spine. Your hands have a home on your thighs, and your body is relaxing. Notice you've brought your attention to your breathing. You're allowing the breath to flow deep in your diaphragm, in the diaphragmatic breathing. And you're beginning to bring your awareness once again to your breath being smooth, deep, continuous, and even. So for the next few breaths, I'm going to invite you to allow yourself to sink as fully as possible into this process. Once again, you may notice the activity of the busy mind. So when you find that your attention has shifted to your mind, just notice it and invite your mind to gently come back to focus on your breath. The notion of clearing the mind is really an inaccurate notion because the level of the rational mind, that's what it does. It simply moves all over the place. So it's kind of like being in different rooms in your house. Perhaps your family room is the place where there's all this activity. There's nothing wrong with that. But maybe when you go into your own bedroom or another room, that's where it's quiet and there's no activity there. So you want to let both rooms exist side by side, but choosing now to move out of that busy room into this quiet room of your meditation. Exhaling and releasing. Inhaling and receiving. Allowing yourself to enjoy the pleasure of this little oasis of your breath-centered meditation practice. Again, your senses are now more alert, so you may notice all the sounds around you. Again, just let those sounds be and draw your attention inward toward your breath for the next 3 rounds of breathing. Exhaling, inhaling, exhaling. Your breath has its own rhythm. My words during that time were simply to guide you, but not that you have to match that pattern. So as we are now coming toward the end of our meditation practice, with your eyes still softly closed, I invite you to begin to gently wiggle your fingers and toes and feel that gentle movement as you begin to prepare your body to return to more active use once again. Then with your eyes still gently closed, I invite you to bring your palms together and gently just rub them together until you can feel some warmth in your palms. And with your eyelids still softly closed, bring the warmth of your palms up over your eyes and feel that warmth move into your eyelids. And then bring your palms down and allow yourself to gently open your eyes. Notice all that you see around you. Notice it as if you're seeing it for the very first time. You have been a traveler through this meditation in your own inner world. And so you are, in one sense, returning to your world for the very first time with renewed energy, calmness, and peace. Thank you so much for joining me today. Kristin, thank you so much for going on the journey with us together today. And may the grounded breath that is flowing through you bring you and all those you love peace and joy.